The following is a special presentation on TNN, the Nashville Network.
If one driver has been the Cinderella story of winter heat, it's Ron Hornaday Jr. Well, he's made a lot of his luck, and the glass slipper is attached to the throttle pedal. Hornaday's calculated aggressiveness have made move after move, pass after pass, pay off. Every driver in the place has had a shot at him, including Lady Luck. They've been able to turn him around, but not out, and usually he's up front and racing for the win.
Oh, me, they're going at it like we knew they would.
Number 64, that's Garrett Evans.
So far, he's 2 for 2, so I'll have to win a couple to even up a little bit.
So today, whose foot will the glass slipper fit? And will we have another fairy tale finish? TNN Motorsports, bringing you live winter racing all winter long, brings you Winter Heat. Live from Tucson Raceway Park in Arizona, where the Featherlite Southwest Tour takes center stage today. The fans in the Kingdom of Tucson have seen happy endings to several fairy tales. Toby Butler turned an audition into a full-time truck ride. And Mike Chase won his Winston West Championship and got a full-time Winston Cup ride with Active Racing. Right about here is where the narrator, Edward Everett Horton, would come in and say, in the Kingdom of Tucson was a man named Ron, who had a race car, and one Monday evening, the phone rang. Now, this is too good a story for me to tell. I want you to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. So let's go down to Ron with Glenn Jarrett.
Well, folks, when you were a kid, if you watched Rocky Squirrel and Bullwinkle Moose, you'll know that that music was from a segment called Fractured Fairy Tales. Well, this one's not fractured. It's a fairy tale come true. Ron Hornaday, tell us about that phone call.
Well, I'll tell you, I got home Monday from Tucson last week, and the guy said Dale Earnhardt called me. And I said, nah, not really, I said, it's a dream come true if he did. And he called back right on sharp at 1 o'clock, and we talked about it a little bit, got me a flight to go out there, and I was there Tuesday and signed on with him Wednesday to drive a super truck.
Well, a very deserving thing to happen to Ron Hornaday. We've seen what he can do in a race car. But now you got things to tend to here this afternoon. You won the last NASCAR Featherlite Southwest Tour event here. Things are looking pretty good today.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of guys come new on board in the Southwest Tour car. I got a Dennis Fisher motor. I just CR brakes and DPI just came along for this race. And I got Insurance Auto Salvage came along. So the Goodyear tires are great again. I mean, we're sitting up here in second fast, and it's a good field. We're only 2/10 and everything. I just got to say hi to Dale and Teresa if they're sitting there watching this one, and we'll pull this one off for everybody.
Well, I'm sure they're watching, and it couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Folks, if you wish, dreams do come true.
Well, when Dale Earnhardt's watching, when he rings your phone, as you can hear from Ron saying, the phone then doesn't stop ringing. It's been ringing off the wall, and he'll drive one of Earnhardt's super trucks in the series that starts at Copper Classic live on TNN. Well, Buddy Baker, it's been fun to see what happened to Ron Hornaday this week, and also to give a chance to showcase a lot of up-and-coming young drivers in this Winter Heat series. Who knows for whom the phone might ring next?
Well, it's been a very exciting thing to be involved with Winter Heat out here. These guys get to showcase their talents, gives them a break that they wouldn't get otherwise, because when you don't get exposure, you don't get the recognition. We're going to watch Ron Hornaday and several of the young talents here go up through the ranks of the Busch Grand National Winston Cup in the Super Truck Division. It's going to be exciting. We want to follow them all the way on TNN.
Don't you wish they had a series like this when you were trying to get your career going?
Oh, it will give anything for it, and I guarantee you these guys know what it's helped. It helped their whole career. This winter has really meant something to every one of them.
And one of those young men is the man on the pole, and he is another surprise of this winter series. Let's meet him for the first time. He's seeing this track for the first time. Glenn?
Well, Mike, all the way from Simpsonville, South Carolina, good old Southern boy, came out here, set fastest time. Now, Shane Hall usually runs in the All-Pro division. He won a race in All-Pro last year. Like I said, first time he's ever seen this racetrack. Shane, you really made that trip pay off, man.
Yeah, we have our Lube America as our corporate sponsor, and they've got an office out in Las Vegas. Want us to come out here and see if we can get a little TV time for them. And the Lube America crew put us a real good car together.
Well, I say they did. Now, you got to have a battle plan. You got a stellar field of guys behind you back there. What's your plan to hold them off all day today?
Well, I tell you, the first 100 laps to us is just practice. So we're going to see how this first 100 laps goes. Try to keep as good a track position as we can, and just concentrate on that last 100.
Well, it came out here to get a little TV time, show off for a sponsor a little bit. Man, did it ever pay off.
A lot of folks did, Glenn. 47 cars were here to try to time in for one of the 28th positions in today's field. It's a great field of race cars. We'll meet them when we come back live to Tucson.
Today's exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Winter Heat Series on TNN is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
What was that game on TV where you did the pictograms and you... never mind. I know what he meant. Folks, we're happy to have you with us here today on TNN. And, well, 68 degrees, I think it was. It was actually about 72 when they qualified, and now it's dipped down towards 60 degrees. It is not going to be, yes, 80 degrees here in Tucson today. It's going to be a little cooler. And no more weather jokes, folks. We spent 3 days in L.A. playing U-boat commander in the rains and floods. Let's save that for later. Wasn't a lot of fun. The Northwest and Southwest Tour drivers competing here today, you can see the season stats stack up pretty evenly until you get down to the number of different winners from each tour. Only 24 different winners in 10 years of Northwest Tour racing, 39 different winners in 9 years on the Southwest Tour, different champs about even. Here are the dominant drivers of each. Garrett Evans, 3 titles. Ron Eaton, 2 championships in the Northwest. They're both in the field. On the Southwest Tour, Mike Chase, Rick Corelli, Ron Hornaday, and Dan Press have dominated the competition. Shane Hall sits on the pole, and Ron Hornaday Jr. starts right alongside an Oldsmobile and a Chevrolet in row 1. Rick Crawford has his Ford in row number 2 with our onboard camera. Bill Lawrence in a Buick alongside. Row 3 will be Kenny Shepard, the pole sitter here last month, and Chris Trickle, who's had some fine runs at Tucson. Toby Porter brings his Oldsmobile all the way from back east, and Mark Meach has an Olds. Row number 5, Brian Germoni from the Southwest Tour, and Craig Roudman in an Oldsmobile. Row number 6, Scott Hansen, towed all the way in from Wisconsin, and Kevin Harvick in a Chevrolet has run well here. Row number 7 will be Lance Hooper, driving a Pontiac, and surfing Sean Monroe in a Chevrolet out of Hornaday's shops. Row number 8 will be Wayne Dillon's Pontiac, and Frank Moronsky Jr., he's in an Oldsmobile. Row number 9 will be Tim Sauter from that famed racing family in Wisconsin, and Garrett Evans starts way back in row number 9. Row number 10 is Doug McCown. He shares the 10th row with Bob Lyon in an Olds. Row number 11, Jim Englebright in a Chevrolet, and Dennis Dyer also in an Oldsmobile. Row 12, provisional starters, Ernie Cope in a Pontiac, and Dana Stahl, Brian Germoni's crew chief, makes his debut in a Chevrolet. Row number 13, Ron Eaton took a provisional to make the field, and Randy Olson gets in from the, or rather they get in from the qualifying race, held just about 30 minutes ago. Eaton won it, and Olson survived the last lap tangle to finish in the 2nd spot in the cow car.
Yeah, very exciting last lap. That whole race was really packed with a lot of excitement there.
So there's the field getting set to go off here at Tucson. They're introducing drivers and just about to fire off engines. Now, Baird Rumano, who's one of the sponsors of this car from the California Dairy Board, the cheese folks, gave up 4 row 5 seats on the 50-yard line in San Francisco today to see his car run. Does that cut the cheese or what?
Man, don't start all that.
Daryl, wish you were here. We need some more puns. We need a commercial break, folks, and we'll get started racing here at Tucson Live on TNN right after this. Welcome back to Tucson, where winter heat is getting a little bit chillier. Stiff breeze coming out of the south here, and some heavy clouds up on the horizon as they fire them up and we get ready to roll. Let's show you this last chance qualifiers race. They had so many provisionals for the various tours. There were only 2 spots available. There's number 7, Ron Eaton. He's out front. 77 in 2nd place, Ron Peterson. Watch this. Peterson holding off Steve Fusey, a lap car. The 1 comes up, makes the pass on the cow car, and Jeff Crow from Idaho in 3rd place needs 1 more spot to qualify.
Coming off the corner here, Crow is trying to gather this car back up. He gets her a little sideways, and he is really pulling down on Ron Peterson here. He makes a few moves in this race that you just don't get by with all the time. You'll run out of space if you try it. You see him right here. They go in. He goes up, gets into the side of the 77 car. Around they go. And guess who moved in the second?
Oh, Ron Eaton wins it. And the cow car, Randy Olson, takes the final spot. 47 drivers here, and here's where they came from to try to make the field today. Canada and all across America. And it was a tough field to make. One of the local heroes here, Carlos Serrano, ended up going home. Doug George from Winston West, Troy Beebe, Randy Hedrick, you saw Peterson, Sig Nelson, Paul Peoples, Steve Fusey, Greg Pursley, Tom Sweetman, Dirk Stevens had ignition problems, Eric Gibson, and you saw a number 1 Jeff Crow fall out of history and get into the side of 77 Peterson, and they didn't make it. Let's check with Glenn.
These cow car jokes are utterly distasteful. Now, I want to point out one thing I like about the top 10. You've got a real good mix of guys. Of course, Shane Hall, as I said, from South Carolina. Also in the top 10 from South Carolina, you've got Toby Porter and Rick Crawford from Alabama. So you got 3 guys from the deep south there in the top 10. Tremendous mix of cars. I think that this is probably the best field of cars that we have seen for any division out here in winter heat. One of the fastest fields, certainly. This is going to be a heck of a race.
Mike, Porter drove 36 hours with his crew to get here and run in this race. 36 hours. Scott Hansen told me they drove 32 hours to get here and race in this race today. That's how important these guys think winter heat is, to getting a lot of recognition for the sponsors and everything.
Well, Hansen's trip included a 5-hour stop in Malcolm, Iowa, population about 12. When a fan belt came off, took the rest of the belts with it. They had to send all the way back to Des Moines for belts and tools, come back and fix the hauler, and 5 hours later they were back on their way. And hope they're all watching us in Malcolm today. So 26 cars will take the green flag, 200 laps, and our pit stop at 100 laps. You know, Brian France from NASCAR was out here last week, and he was asking us and about everybody who would venture an opinion, what folks think of this halftime break racing. So, folks, if you have an opinion, do you like the halftime break that gives these drivers a chance to reset, rethink their plan, and change the car a little around for the second 100 laps? Or do you think no, should the whole 200 laps be run straight through? If you have an opinion, write to NASCAR in Daytona Beach and let them know. I'm sure they'd appreciate your comments as they solicited ours. I think it's a neat idea. Rick Crawford, number 14, the Circle Bar Motel and RV Park, Thunderbird. We'll be carrying our in-car camera. So if you're in Ozona, Texas, stop by a Circle Bar Motel. Bring your RV. There you look out the right side of Rick Crawford's car. And out the left side as well. There's a look at Rick ready to go to work. And out the back window. And over the spoiler, there is the rest of the field behind Rick Crawford, who starts third today.
Boy, oh boy. He wants to see the whole field when he looks back like that through his mirror. And we wouldn't mind seeing that either. Crawford is really a great race car driver. In the past, he has really represented himself well here.
I think he's another one of these fellows, buddy, from what he's shown us at Phoenix and here at Tucson, whose phone will start ringing shortly.
Oh, yeah, he's very talented. Glenn, we had a report that Ron Hornaday's already smoking just a little bit on the pace lap there. Have you noticed anything like that?
Buddy, I'm right at the edge of the track right now. I'm looking. I don't see anything coming out of the car, nothing at all from this vantage point, so I'll keep a close watch on it. I'm in a fortunate position standing over here right off of turn 2. I get a real close look at them when they're under green flag conditions there, so I'll keep an eye out for it and let you know.
Okay, good. I hope that was just maybe a little tire smoke, or he's just grinding back and forth and maybe a little body rub there on the tire.
Shane Hall in number 85, the Lanier Raceway Challenge Series champion of this year, brings the field down to the green flag, and he has the edge on Hornaday, who drops right to the bottom and goes to work. Back at third spot, Rick Crawford settles in there just ahead of Bill Lawrence, number 21. Behind them, they're 3 wide into the third corner. As the leaders flare out, here's Crawford, and he gets into Hornaday.
Hornaday did a great job of saving the car. He was hit pretty hard there on the left rear corner, but he's back underway there, and there's no hard feelings. That's just good, hard, short track racing.
There's been a little fairy dust on the track in turn 1 left over from one of those deals.
One thing about Hornaday, he don't like anybody to pass him, and he'll try to get that second spot back.
Ron Hornaday in 97. Now that he has severed his ties with Wayne Spears and that organization, his tour car painted in his own yellow and blue colors and carrying a variety of sponsors for the day. Hornaday right back to the bottom for second place. And he may get it from Crawford this time. Oh, Rick is tough on the top lane, but there's Hornaday squeezing through.
Boy, oh boy, we've seen that move week after week here with Hornaday. He does not like for a guy to make a pass, but if he makes a pass on him, he goes in the corner really hard on the bottom and kind of slides up across in front of him.
Talked to Scott Hansen today. He said he's watched every one of these races all winter long.
Bill Lawrence is making a great run there in fourth in the 21 car. He has really got the car hooked up, and he's pulled down on the first 3 cars. And right behind there is Chris Trickle in the 70 car.
Pretty much single file through the top 10 as we complete 7 laps. A lot of 3-wide jockeying way further back, but now that too has settled down just a bit.
Well, for the Hornaday fans out there don't seem to be any smoke coming out of the car. You can see Rick Crawford making every move he can to get back into second place there, though.
I think for Ron Hornaday, the chance to drive for Dale Earnhardt is a tremendous opportunity, but it also is going to put him under the microscope. A lot of folks are really going to be watching Hornaday from here on out.
Well, that's a great race for second right now. Rick Crawford has come a long ways, and he really would love to win this race. But Shane Hall, fastest qualifier, come a long ways also from South Carolina. And it's not a fluke, folks. He's really out there leading this race and running away from some of the best short track drivers in the country.
Glenn?
Well, guys, watching Crawford trying to take second away from Hornaday again. I talked to him before the race. He really felt badly about the way he ran here the last time. He was here for the last Southwest Tour event a month or so ago. He said he was embarrassed by the way he ran, and he really wanted to come out here and show the folks that he could indeed run up front. He's doing it right now.
You're riding along with Rick Crawford.
Mike, did you see how steady the hands were in that race car going through the corner there? That was a perfect anybody at home that's wanting to know how good these cars really handle, they can watch the 14 car as he was going through the corner there. Crawford's hands barely move. When they're really good, you don't have to fight them. They'll get around the corner pretty much on their own.
Side by side for second spot, that's Hornaday in yellow up top, and Rick Crawford right underneath him.
I don't believe I've ever been to a short track that's any more adapted for this type of racing. They can run side by side, and really neither car is giving up anything as far as tearing the tires up. This racetrack starts out with a little bit of bank and goes up as you go up the racetrack. So really, when you run around this racetrack, the higher you run, the more bank you have, but you can make the pass as Crawford just did for second place there.
Caution. Turn 2, 2 cars have gotten in it. Number 40, Frank Moronsky Jr., and 22, Wayne Dillon.
Both cars were able to go on. That's good.
And one car goes riding through the infield. That's 95, Kenny Shepard, who was the pole sitter here last time. Shepard is a protege of Hornaday. Nice young kid. Picked up some of Ron's sponsors as well as his tutelage and a race car from Hornaday. So he is a comer. He'll be one to watch here today. We'll be right back to Tucson Raceway Park. 15 laps completed. The Southwest Tour is sponsored by Featherlite. Featherlite trailers are the official trailer of NASCAR. For more information, call 1-800-800-1230. First caution of the day came at lap 15. There's also damage to the car of Jim Engelbright, who had slowed to miss a collision. Wayne Dillon got into the back of him, number 22, and some fiberglass damage to the right side nose of Scott Hansen's car. You're looking at Rick Crawford from the onboard camera, and there's Hansen coming back from the pit area after removing some of the right front fiberglass on his number 53. He said they really enjoyed their weekend here in Tucson.
Well, really? A lot of times we have sign language up here. I know what he's talking about. The right front corner of this car, that's the one nice thing about fiberglass. You see the damage he has there. They just come in there, tore a piece out, got it hooked back up there, and he's ready to go again. That's really nice. If that's metal, he'd be out of the race most likely.
All right, we've got just the tail end of what happened here. There's the 40 car sliding and spinning. Ernie Cope, Sean Monroe get by. 20 car slows up, and there you see Wayne Dillon get into the back of him. And that's where a lot of the damage came from. Ron Eaton and Doug Olson, or Randy Olson rather, get past. Glenn?
Well, Mike, you're talking about the damage on the cars that were wrecked, and also Scott Hansen. There's also right front damage to Rick Crawford. When he gave Hornaday that shot earlier on when he got by him, it split the fiberglass right front fender. I don't think it'll create a problem. Also, Garrett Evans in car number 64 has a pretty well crunched in right front fender. He's running by me right now. It's rubbing the right front tire just a little bit. I don't think it's going to hurt the car, but these guys wasting no time putting the fender to one another.
Well, Evans started back in 18th. He's raced his way up to 7th place. And we'll go green this time. Hall, Hornaday, and Crawford, your front three.
Look at Hornaday. He moved over there out of the way of the mirror where he couldn't see when he was going to try to take advantage of that takeoff there, but this kid's no beginner here. He is really flying around. Shane Hall is doing a great job.
You say he's no beginner, buddy, but he doesn't have a lot of experience in race cars. Drove his first asphalt race at Anderson, South Carolina in 1993. So a year of short track racing, a year in the Slim Jim All-Pro circuit, and here he is at the start of only his 3rd asphalt season. He raced go-karts previously. Boy, is he taking a liking to this track.
He is. He's actually he's a little bit quicker than Hornaday at this juncture of the race, but that don't mean a thing. Look at this racing here. Now, that's as good a short track racing as you'll ever see.
44, Bob Lyon, has been right in the middle of everybody. Since they dropped the green flag, he's been 3 wide, whatever it takes, as he battles number 4, Dennis Dyer. 48, Sean Monroe. There's the 40 getting back up into it, Frank Moronsky.
Whoa, a little contact there coming out turn 4. Everybody keeps going. That's what we call casual contact. When you just go up there and say, I'm still here, boom, and everybody keeps going.
That's why race cars don't have horns. They have bumpers. And Ron Eaton, number 7, all-time winner on the Northwest Tour circuit, trying to move up. 66 at the fence, Mark Meach.
Yeah, Mark's been slow all the way around the racetrack. He's trying to make it back to the pit opening there in turn 2.
Looks like he'll get there. And we'll stay green. Up front, it's getting really hot for the lead. As Ron Hornaday puts the pressure to Shane Hall.
Boy, oh boy, this is an old story. It's been told several times in Fairyland, but you can see the 97 Hornaday. He never gives up. He runs every lap like it's the last.
They've got a little separation on the 3rd and 4th place battle. 22 is back in the race, Wayne Dillon. 28 laps complete. Remember, we run 100 laps, then take a halftime break.
Well, nobody asked me, but that halftime break is a great thing, not only for the people here, but for the people that are maybe a little bit off on the chassis setup, and then go in and work on the cars and get them really good for the second half.
Yeah, I think it's a great innovation, especially in the truck series where all the technology and a lot of the drivers are new. I wish they'd run that halftime break at every truck race in 1995, and it really added another interesting aspect to the way races are conducted. Not maybe better, but certainly a little different. A little something different from for the fans.
Well, Ron Hornaday run up on Shane Hall there, but Shane didn't seem to fold a bit under the pressure. You see, he's back. He's starting to build a little bit of lead over Ron Hornaday, so he is really hooked up. Ron not gaining a bit on him at this moment.
There's your leaderboard, top 5 as you see them at lap 33 here. And Hall beginning to open up a little bit of distance on Hornaday now. Let's go back to 6th place for Chris Trickle at number 7. He's trying to hold off Garrett Evans. Remember, Evans has come from 18th place, now up to 6th.
Yeah, Garrett's got a little marks on his car there. He's been a little aggressive coming up through the crowd there, but this race car has been very, very competitive in races past. And Trickle there, he gets around this racetrack extremely good, but Garrett Evans is on the move toward the front.
So move Evans up to 6th place, Chris Trickle in 7th. Back in 8th is Craig Rodman in the number 2. And in the 9th spot, Kevin Harvick. Top 10 right now is rounded out by Brian Germoni. Glenn?
Well, Mike, I'm looking at the lead car of Shane Hall. We're going to try to show you how the rear glass, the edge of the rear roof, and where it meets the rear glass is caved in. He's running so fast around here. I tell you, I'm really impressed with this young man. He's the only car on the racetrack I've seen thus far in the race that absolutely has not gotten the car out of shape. And he is like I say, the aerodynamics are so good on that car, it's pushed the rear of the roof down on it. He's pulling away from Hornaday. Hornaday gains time on him going into corners, but Shane makes it up getting off. He's getting off the corners better, straighter, and truer than anybody out there right now. That's how you win races on a short track.
Now, you might ask at home, why would the roof push down like that? Well, it kind of depends on how it's mounted. When that roof is pushed down at speed, buddy, I would imagine you'd get more air to that rear spoiler.
Well, you do get a little more air to it, and that's the desired thing, is to get a lot of air, a lot of down pressure on the back of the car to hook the rear wheels up as you come up out of the corner, so it's very important. Ron Hornaday is getting a little challenge there from Rick Crawford.
Crawford on the move, and Hornaday, it looks like he'll be one of those drivers who will benefit from a halftime break, as Shane Hall is starting to drive away from his field. We have not had a runaway at winter heat so far. Spin turn 2. One car around, gets going again. That's Lance Hooper in the Golden West 07. No caution.
Yeah, he wasn't there very long. He didn't lose much time. Maybe a straightaway on the cars that he was racing against.
Wayne Dillon comes up on him, but Hooper's back up to speed. Spin in turn 2, and it is Dillon this time in the fence. And we have a caution at lap 41.
Crawford has got by Hornaday in a little scuffle coming back for the flag.
Sean Monroe tried to pass the whole field.
I don't know whether they're allowed to race back to the caution in this race or not, but Garrett Evans had gotten by.
That's number 22, Wayne Dillon, out of Rochester, Washington. The Uti Chevrolet Pontiac.
Right, the crew tells me, the official tells me they do not race back to the caution.
Oh boy, that's a lot of damage there. He's sitting there wondering if he's going to get back in the race right now, but he's got a lot of damage on the left side of this car.
Yeah, that may not look bad, folks, but that is not simply duct tape going to cure that one. They do not race back to the flag. That's why Hornaday lifted out of the throttle, and so did Rick Crawford. They'll leave it to the scorers to determine who was in what spot on the last completed green flag lap, and that's how they'll line them back up. 43 laps complete. As you ride with Rick Crawford, you see that Garrett Evans has moved up into the top 5. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Winter Heat. As you look over the mountainous terrain and the cacti that's around the greater Tucson area here in the Sonoran Desert, beautiful place to be. In fact, the drivers are here from all over the country. Glenn has his Rand McNally out and has a look at the top runners.
Oh, it's really unusual. Mike Shane Hall leading from South Carolina, Hornaday from California. Crawford is from Alabama. Toby Porter running 4th from South Carolina. Garrett Evans from Washington. Bill Lawrence from British Columbia. Chris Trickle is from Nevada. The next guy is from California. Then a guy from Wisconsin. Everybody loves it in the Southwest.
A great place to be. Green flag at lap 45. Single file, they get right back after it.
Here comes Hornaday. He's making that move up on the inside, trying to take the lead away.
He slides right up there in front of Shane Hall.
I believe he's going to make it stick. He has another car out there. He has the first place. You see him move up and check that spot out. He will not give you a chance to run back on the outside of him once he makes the pass.
And here comes Rick Crawford. Hall comes down to cover the spot. 74, Dana Stahl back in the race. Back for the lead once again. Hall's going to find out what it's like on the low side here.
Boy, oh boy, that's impressive. I've seen very few people try to pass Hornaday on the bottom side, and there he was. Catching him and passing him is one other thing, though.
Hall seems to have the go coming off turn 2. Spin in turn 2. Whoa. Bob Lyon goes around, and everybody gets by. Cheese curdled on cow car on that one. Jeez. Randy Olson went past. Bob Lyon, number 44, the Eagle Snacks machine spun. He had a lot of help.
Boy, I tell you, on this racetrack, just a little bit of help is a lot of help.
He had a lot of help.
We had a big race back to the flag just then. If you notice, the 85 car of Shane Hall is back in the lead.
All right, now here's Bob Lyon. And alongside 95, Kenny Shepard. That's Scott Hansen moving in from the bottom. Lyon comes up Gets a little swirly and then gets tagged.
Well, he had a lot of help, but he helped himself into that trouble there. He pulled right in the way of Scott Hansen, and he got tagged in the right rear corner.
Correct. He had the car lost, and he had it saved, and then he was in big trouble. Chapter 3. Turn the page quickly. And around he went. So a tough break for Bob Lyon, but nobody else involved and unscathed. So he'll rejoin the field, and 1 to go will go green.
Boy, I tell you, Garrett Evans is sitting there in 4th place right now, and he has just steady been going towards the lead. These guys have really got to pick up the pace here, or Garrett Evans will be in the lead before too long. That car is really coming through traffic well.
I wondered how many of these drivers are really bonsaiing it in the first half. Scott Hansen told me he was going to run, get the feel of the racetrack. He said about lap 85, he said he wanted to cut a few hot laps, see what the car would do, and see what they might need to change. But he said the second half, he says, I've been watching all these shows on TV, and the second half is where these races were won. We'll see.
Green is out.
Ooh, slow
Hornaday
restart.
gets a great start on the outside and gets by Hall on the outside.
Shane Hall brought him up really slow, and Hornaday took advantage in a big way. Now here's Crawford on the bottom trying to get Hall for 2nd spot.
That's Garrett Evans there with the nose torn off the right side, but does not seem to hurt the car here. Aerodynamics does not matter that much.
Yep, Evans has moved into 4th place with Toby Porter.
These cars are so equal, but I have to tell you right now, Hall is really hooked up. He's under Hornaday, trying to take the lead coming off turn 2 there, but Hornaday has a little more drive down the back stretch.
Kenny Shepard was telling me they had one race last year, I believe it was at Bakersfield, California, where the whole field was covered by just 0.2 of a second. That's how equal these cars are.
Boy, oh boy. Well, you can just look. I mean, there's really no advantage here. It's the driver that wants it the most. And you said something a little while ago about the first half, they just kind of ride around.
Well, no.
Race car drivers even like to win practice.
No, I didn't mean they were just riding. Garrett Evans, right behind the 2 leaders. He's going at it for 3rd place with Rick Crawford. Here's Hornaday and Hall. 1-2.
There goes
Hall again on the bottom.
Boy, I mean, he's doing everything. You see Hornaday switch around just a little bit. They're both hard in the throttle. When they go through the corner, I'm surprised that Hall is hooked up that well. You see the back end twitch just a little bit. He lost about a half a car length coming off the corner.
Evans, meanwhile, has taken 3rd and begins to close down on these 2 leaders. Shane Hall from South Carolina, that white number 85. And here they're 3 wide battling. That's Kenny Shepard in the middle, Dyer up on top, and number 20, Jim Englebright.
Well, this is what we were talking about earlier in the show. There's no exact place to be on this racetrack. It's fast, low, and high.
Shepard got in the back of Brian Germoni there just a bit. Ron Eaton, number 7, trying to move up. Boy, moving up here is not easy. Leaders, side by side again, and Hall has the lead. And here comes Hornaday. It doesn't stop.
They better sort this out because Garrett Evans is closing down quickly as they fight for the lead.
Glenn?
Like when Shane Hall got by Hornaday that time, run got a little high coming off of 2. Shane took advantage of it, but you're exactly right, buddy. It's a good thing they went down to single file because Garrett Evans was fast closing on him. When they run side by side like that, he'll catch him in no time. Now Shane Hall's beginning to get away. You can see Evans starting to put the move on Hornaday. It'll allow Hall to pull away with his lead a little bit.
Remember that Evans in number 64 has come from 18th starting position to now battle for 2nd.
I did notice one thing, though. Garrett Evans, when he goes down low, the back of the car is twitching around a little bit, telling me that he's real loose. We have a car up here. May bring out a caution in turn 4 right now. Germoni has a left rear tire flat.
Spin, Sean Monroe, turn 4. Now the caution flies. Sean Monroe spun, got a little bit of a nose piece on that car. Edged off by a car going past, but he'll get back to racing. And we'll take a break from Tucson Raceway Park. 66 laps are complete in round 7 of Winter Heat. We will be right back after this. TNN helps bring NASCAR World to Daytona International Speedway this February during Speed Week 95. 6 acres of NASCAR technology, exhibits, live demonstrations. See the inside and up close of NASCAR racing. Call the number on your screen for more information. Getting ready to go back to racing, Shane Hall, Ron Hornaday, Garrett Evans are the front 3. Rick Crawford in the 4th spot. And 5th. Kevin Harvick, number 55, has moved from 12th on the grid up to 5th position. Garrett Evans up there in 3rd. Can he close down on the 2 leaders before halftime? 30 laps to halfway.
Mike, I can tell you this. Shane Hall did not come out here to ride either segment. This car is really hooked up, and if he don't make a real error in driving right now, I think he has the car to beat, because it is just able to go out and put a 3-4 car length advantage over Ron Hornaday, and Ron has been really good in every race he runs out here.
It's the closest we've had, buddy, to a dominant performance. A race-long dominant performance in the 7 weeks of winter heat. There's Garrett Evans in 3rd. Number 64, Rick Crawford, number 14, in 4th.
You see Garrett Evans there in 3rd place. He is able to pick up speed as they run along. After 3 or 4 laps, that car really becomes dominant. And I think he's got the car that will be able to run with Hall, but he's got to get by Ron Hornaday to get up there.
Now you're looking at Kevin Harvick, who is the 5th place driver. He came from 12th on the grid and was asked about, is it tough being the new kid on the block in this series?
We've been accepted pretty well. My dad's been around it for 20 years now, and he's helped quite a few guys. And, you know, we got people like Rick Corelli's helped us out quite a bit, so he's been a big help to me personally. So we fit in all right.
A Corelli protege, a couple of Hornaday proteges in the field. As Harvick battles Rick Crawford for 4th place. Closing on that top 5 very quickly is Scott Hansen.
Yeah, it hadn't been many laps ago that he had to go to the back of the field because he tore the front end on the car up a little bit, and they made the fix on the right front there, and he is flying right now up to the crowd.
Never seen this racetrack, buddy, but he said he'd watched every one of the winter heat shows to get an idea of how to run it. Wanted to come out for a 1-race tune-up before Copper Classic, which you'll see live on TNN.
Well, you can see he's making the move right now on the 55 car of Kevin Harvick.
But we're told that he is posted as 1 lap down, that he did lose a lap making those repairs.
Well, he's doing something about that right now. He's moving in on the top 5 cars trying to get that lap back.
Boy, Hansen's car looks like it's glued down pretty well.
Oh, yeah, he's flying right now. He makes the move. Now he's back up here where he can really make some time. The outside of this racetrack.
Sean Monroe's car in flames for the 2nd time in winter heat. He's going to get it to the pit road and off the racetrack. Last time that happened, he slid down the backstretch. Caution is out. He slid down the backstretch and into the infield.
Mike, Rick Crawford almost went out of here then. He got all the way up against the wall going in turn 1. And the 53 car followed him in there. I thought both of them were going to smack the wall.
Crawford had been running higher and higher on the racetrack. Got way too high that time.
I think Hansen seen him go up there, and he didn't know what to do just for a second there.
Glenn?
Yeah, the reason they're having that problem, buddy, there were 3 or 4 cars almost went out of here. In fact, I thought they were going to run over me. But there's something on the racetrack. There's fluid or something. I can see a line right up in the top groove there where they run so fast here. And all those guys did a great job of keeping them off the wall, because they came in there full bore, hit that fluid, and they were running sideways. I tell you, it could have been really disastrous. But like I said, they all did a good job. NASCAR is going to send a truck out to let them take a look.
And that may, there you see Hansen slide, and here goes Crawford.
That's the part I seen. I didn't see the fluid, but it got my attention, I can promise you.
That may have been from Sean Monroe's car. The flames and fluid may have been what sent him to the pit area. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Winter Heat on TNN. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Glenn Jarrett. A Cast 1000, a book full of puns and fairy tales.
Boy, oh boy.
And some real good racing. Shane Hall, unheralded as far as West Coast racing. He's had some success in the Slim Jim All-Pro Series. He leads this race. Garrett Evans snuck past Ron Hornaday just prior to the caution. You're riding with Rick Crawford, the fourth place driver. And in fifth, number 55, that's Kevin Harvick, young driver out of California. 14 laps to the halfway break, and this time Shane Hall is on the button, takes the restart green flag.
Well, it takes Garrett Evans about 2 or 3 laps to really dial his car in, but after that, I think he's as fast a race car as there is on the racetrack. You see Ron Hornaday going down in the corner there. He's not giving up much, and he is extremely loose getting off the corners right now.
Hornaday, that yellow and blue car in third. Now on his own as far as his tour car is concerned. He'll drive trucks for Dale Earnhardt. And he said this morning, no hard feelings. He and Wayne Spears talked just the other day, but they did not have a signed deal, and that made Hornaday available to talk to Earnhardt and go for the truck ride, beginning at Copper Classic. 8th place battle here, number 20, Jim Englebright, 21, Bill Lawrence going at it.
That was settled pretty quickly. They know if they run side by side here, they lose a lot of time, so they try to make the pass and get on by if they possibly can.
There's number 2, Craig Rodman, moving in. Advantage computer chip car. Had 11 wins at Shasta Speedway in 1991 and moved up to the Tour. Big trouble, and it's Rodman right in the middle of it with Lyon, Trickle, the 7 of Ron Eaton, and the 4 of Dennis Dyer.
Boy, Ron Eaton went in there hard. I mean, that was a lick.
That 2 car sideways, that's Rodman. That was a beautiful looking race car. Advantage computer machine. Bob Lyon, number 44, the wrong place at the wrong time. The blue car back to us is number 70. Now there's Ron Eaton. He is okay, but the Spies Hecker machine is not too good.
Boy, very little left to sheet metal on either car there. Eaton come in there wide open and never checked up. He had a hole to go through, and all of a sudden it wasn't there.
Remember, Eaton had to win the non-qualifiers race to get in this show.
Well, the 40 car gets into the back of the number 2 car there of Craig Redmond, and around he goes, and everybody starts checking up, and this is what happened. Watch Eaton come in here.
Oof, hard, really hard. Let's show it to you again. Different angle this time. You see the 2 start to come around. Watch 07 Lance Hooper do a bump and shuffle way down the bottom. Loose bump, straighten out, and go. Now here comes Chris Trickles in there. There's the cow car missing it.
Here comes Eaton.
Bam. Well, that hurts just looking at it. We'll be under caution for a bit here for a multi-car collision. Word we have is that everybody is okay as they sort out the fiberglass from the aluminum from the steel pieces. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Winter Heat Live on TNN. And, they've invoked the EIRI provision of the NASCAR rulebook, I think, the except in rare instances provision of when to take the halftime break. We're at 92 laps, and they have decreed that because of the length of time it's going to take to clean this one up, we'll go to halftime. So the crews and the cars started scurrying off for the pits. Here's why. Watch also 17 Randy Olson. Watch how the cow car got through this as it starts to unfold. There's line of 44 piling in. Chris Trickle. Ernie Cope, nice left turn. There's the cow car. And Shepard, slide and go. Slide and survive. That's what that was.
Nice move.
For both Eaton and Kenny Shepard in 95. There's the initial contact. Hooper in 07 just barely. Look at 34 squeezed through there. Doug McCown. And here comes everybody else. 12. Well, as they continue to clean up, you see a lot of fluid and a lot of debris on the track, so they'll bring out the blower and the rollback truck for Chris Trickle's car. Glenn Jarrett will talk to folks in the pits when we come back.
Well, welcome back to Tucson Raceway Park. We're in halftime. You're looking at work going on the leader's car at Shane Hall right now. Funny thing about these guys, they came all the way from South Carolina. There are only 3 crew guys. Now, the rest of these guys got 8, 10 guys swarming all over their car. Only 3 guys here. The crew chief, Lee McAllister, sitting in here calmly watching all this. Shane Hall. And Shane, congratulations for what a job you've done so far.
Well, this Lube America car's been hooked up real good for the first 100 laps. Automotive specialists put us a good motor up under the hood. But the only bad thing about that, the first 100 was just practice. So now we get to do the money run.
Well, I commented to you while we were away there. I only saw you get the car out of shape one time, and that's when you had to go down to the bottom to take the lead back from Hornaday. Man, this thing is really hooked up coming off the corners.
Yeah, I tell you, this Port City chassis is just is great. Lee McAllister has worked on this thing, got us a real good car, and we're not going to change a whole lot for the second 100. I hope those guys don't get a whole lot faster.
Well, I certainly don't blame you for not changing anything. Can you do in the second half what you did in the first half?
I think we can. The car, like I said, was just perfect, and as long as we can keep the car straight and don't abuse the tires, I think we'll be in good shape.
Guys, I am impressed. I'm impressed with Shane Hall. I'm impressed with his ability in front of the camera as well as on the racetrack, and with only 3 crew guys. What a job these guys have done today.
Glenn, the word we have is that Shane Hall's laps have been so consistent that most of his laps are within 1/10 of a second of what he was running at the start of the race. And what makes that all the more remarkable is the temperature continues to drop. And Glenn, I would imagine that a lot of those teams are going to make wholesale changes for weather that's going to end up being, say, 20 degrees colder than what it was when they qualified.
Oh, I think you're exactly right, Mike. And you know, if they're going to catch Shane Hall, they're going to have to make a bunch of wholesale changes. Also, as I walked away from Shane Hall there, he told me, he said, hey, the reason we only brought 3 crew guys, he says, at $400 a plane ticket, that's all we could afford. Man, these guys have done a heck of a job. I am really impressed with that young man. We're going to run down here and try to talk to some more guys. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Glenn. There's the Star Nursery car, Chris Trickle. Here's Shane Hall getting the lead from Ron Hornaday.
Well, Mike, you heard him say one thing. You have to keep the car straight. You can't abuse the tires. He's using all the racetrack he can use, but he's not leaning on Hornaday there. He's just using his racetrack. He's not pinching the car in the corners. He's driving it very straight.
Up and under as Hornaday gets up a little bit high there and takes the advantage.
That shows a lot of maturity on his part, too, because he did hold the car straight. Most people jump in the throttle a little too hard and get the car sideways, and then they abuse the tires and can't make the pass.
Well, the man who made the most gains in this first half of the race started 18th and is now in second place, Garrett Evans. Glenn's with him.
Well, Mike, let's take a look at the side of Garrett Evans' race car. You can see how he had to use up the right side a little bit, getting up through that traffic. It's awfully tight out here. As I told you earlier on, had a little bit of damage to the right front. Did not hurt the car at all. Garrett, great charge from 18th up to second, but got to make a few changes if you're going to catch that 85 car.
Well, we got the right front wheel bent a little bit and caused a real bad vibration. The car was skipping going down in the middle of the corner and got the toe end out a little bit. And so we got in position, so the next 100, at least we got to have a lot better tires than we did the first 100, you know, and we got a good race car. We'll get this adjustment made, and I think we can beat them.
Well, if you saw us moving back and forth, they are setting the toe on the car as we speak. Do you think you got something for that kid?
We'll find out here. He's a real good driver, and he's got one of those Keith Dorton motors in, and so do I, so we're going to see which Dorton motor is the best.
Okay, Evans can't wait for the second half to get started.
Welcome back to Tucson. It's getting chilly up here, buddy. I think it's down to about 58, 60 degrees right now. The temperature continues to drop and the wind pick up.
Boy, the wind is really blowing. It's ideal for racing, though. It's very cool. Cars are hooking up well, and it's really not hard on tires when you have a cool condition like this.
I think you've heard our last jokes about it being 80 degrees. I went to Los Angeles Monday. I drove around. I felt like a U-boat commander, like I needed a periscope. We have trucks to plow snow up in Connecticut. They had trucks plowing mud as it came down off the hillsides. It was no fun. Much better here. NASCAR officials have reviewed the incident that led to this red flag that sent us to halftime a little bit early. And it looks as if they are going to penalize one driver at the start of competition when we get going again. There is the spin and turn, and number 40, when we get going, will be directed to park that car in the pits for 2 laps in the penalty box.
Boy, that's a tough decision right there, because everybody's trying to get through that corner very hard, and you know, somebody checks up a little bit, you can't actually tell but I'm sure NASCAR reviewed it more than once before they made the decision.
There's a look at it once again. And so the 40 car will go 2 laps in the penalty box when we resume. Well, let's talk to the man who's dominated winter heat so far and has been running well in this first 100 laps. See what he has for them in the second half. Glenn?
Well, Mikey has been running well, but it's been a little bit of a handful out there. Car looked to be just maybe a little loose, Ron.
Well, I tell you, of all the times I came down here judging this weather, this is the worst weather we've had out here. I just loosened it up too much, my own fault. We tightened it up. I think we got something for him. We're just going to pedal our fast as we can go.
Well, you seem to run the closest. You were the only person to be able to pass Shane Hall in the 85, and that car's got some motor behind it too, doesn't it?
It's definitely got a heck of a transmission on restarts. He slows us up just enough where I can just grab third gear, and he must have a lower gear than I got. But he's doing a heck of a job, and for the first time here, I think I got something for him, though.
Well, we won't have to wait long to find out. You know how Hornaday loves those restarts. Shane Hall may have something for him, but if Ron Hornaday can do it at all, he will. We're getting ready to go back racing.
And back with them, Garrett Evans in second place, and all Harvick and a host of drivers right behind them looking for a shot at the brass ring and perhaps that glass slipper. Now, what we'll do, it's 92 laps complete as we're under the red flag, and NASCAR has decided because of the length of cleanup time from that multi-car incident, they take the halftime break now, so we'll have 108 laps left to run. What do you look for in the second half?
More of the same, and it's easy to say you have something for somebody, but I'm really interested to see whether they really do have anything. Hall has done a great job, and the car is really hooked up. He's doing a great job. If they're going to beat him, they're going to do it on the racetrack and not in the pits.
Shane Hall, previously unheralded, had some success in the All-Pro Series. Here he is on national television. He's dominated these first 100 laps. What comes next? Stay tuned. Sunday, January 22nd, that's live Winter Heat, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The Winston West Series will cap off Winter Heat, round number 8, next Sunday, right here from Tucson Raceway Park. Be sure to join us. Earlier today, the Grand American Modifieds ran their feature event. Carl Trimmer, number 28, started from the pole, and Ron Hornaday in 55 started second. This multi-car spin sent Jerry Stenner into Scott Busby, number 73. Here's Trimmer and Ron Hornaday battling for the lead. An off-scene occurrence here at Tucson. Boy, Hornaday just squeezed Trimmer up there and took it. Another big melee about to ensue here when Henry Rogers in 25 gets spun around by Jeff Gibson in the number 1, George Haney in the number 3. Also taken out in that one. But the big wreck came right at the finish of the race. And there up and in the wall is Jay Becker, number 50, George Haney and Michael Himes involved in that one. So on the red checker, Ron Hornaday was the first guy at the flag. Ron Collum posted as second place. Jim Doffing, third. Carl Trimmer got fourth. And Mike Hubert finished up in the 5th spot.
Boy, Trimmer comes from the back up to 3rd place there. I mean, he drove his heart out in that race.
Yes, he did, and it was another thriller, and I think Hornaday pulled out a little bit of magic dust to win that one.
Well, once he got by and got in the lead, it was pretty much over with. He dominated the feature there. He never made a mistake and led from wire to wire, really.
So let's have a look at how they'll restart here. We have 92 laps complete. Shane Hall is your leader and pole sitter out of South Carolina, beginning only his 3rd season of oval track racing. Ron Hornaday, Garrett Evans, Rick Crawford, Kevin Harvick up to 5th, and Tim Sauter, Jay Sauter's brother, up into 6th spot.
Jim Sauter's son.
Bill Lawrence, Doug McCown, Lance Hooper, Ernie Cope, Randy Olson, and Kenny Shepard. That's your top dozen. Toby Porter and Bob Lyon. Scott Hansen, Jim Engelbright. Let's check with Glenn on some of those last-minute adjustments during pit stops.
Well, thanks, Mike. A couple of the guys that we saw running up front earlier on, in fact, saw some good charges through the field. Bill Lawrence started in like 3rd or 4th position. He had a power steering belt come off, and he fell back through the field, did not lose a lap. He is still on the lead lap. They have the car repaired. He also broke the shifter knob. They replaced that. Now, one guy that really put on a charge was Toby Porter, and then all at once he fell back out of the top 10, but he did stay on the lead lap. he had two, not one, but two spark plug wires running off. So he was running, in effect, a V6 out there against the V8 the rest of them were running. They got that fixed. I look for Toby Porter to march back up through the field.
Also from Greenville, South Carolina, but we're told no relation to Randy Porter. Well, it's cooling off, buddy, and they're trying to get a little bit of heat in those tires and clean them off.
Well, what Garrett Evans is doing there, second place car, number 64, he's weaving back and forth. He's getting all the debris off the tires, putting a little heat in them, and when they do start back, the worst thing you can ever have is a tire build up, go down in the corner. It's almost like the tire's flat when you try to turn it. It goes straight into the wall if you don't clean them off.
There you see they are holding the number 40 car. Frank Morotsky Jr. out of Bakersfield, who's in his second year in the Southwest Tour. 2 laps in the penalty box. And they'll take the restart green, we're told, at lap 94.
You see Scott Hansen, the 4th car in this picture. If he can get up here and get his lap back, he is as fast a race car as anybody out there.
We're back under green, and Garrett Evans goes right to work on Shane Hall. Evans in 64.
Look at Garrett Evans. That car is really hooked up. He's moving to the inside, trying to take the lead going down in the corner.
Ooh, way up high goes Hall, and that's the way he lost the lead last time.
Well, Garrett Evans has learned from the best there. Ron Hornaday's made that move to win a race from him, and he didn't forget.
All right, Morotsky served his penalty. He's back in the race 2 laps down. Second place. Same song, second verse.
Ron Hornaday says, I have something for him. They start back. He didn't say a word about Garrett Evans, though, who's leading this race right now, moving away.
Hornaday on the bottom. It didn't work that time. And here comes Hansen.
Ooh, baby.
That's close. Oh, that spin in turn 2.
The yellow is not out yet.
And it looks like it's not coming out. Can that car refire?
There's the yellow.
Caution flag. I'll bet it starts now. Yes, it does. 55, Kevin Harvick. He was running in 5th place. The youngster out of California. Spins it to a stop in turn 2. Rookie on the Southwest Tour and 93 late model champ at Bakersfield. Back running again, and I believe he loses a lap in that one. There he goes.
Well, that just looked like he's way up in the loose stuff there. Wow, you talk about somebody lucky. The 21 car there of Bill Lawrence was right on his door. He just barely squeezed through.
We'll check and see if 55 Harvick has lost at least a lap on that spin at turn number 2. They were hoping he'd get refired and pulled away. Didn't happen.
Mike, it looked like Harvick just got way up over the white line there. You see him going through the corner here. He just loses it going in the corner and gets on the high stuff there. There's a lot of trash up there. See the smoke coming off the back? That's debris on the outside of the racetrack. Thank goodness for good brakes.
Harvick is 1 lap down. Tough break for what was the 5th place car.
Looked like he had it saved twice there, but once he hit that all that debris on the outside there, he's pretty much caught.
5 lead changes among 3 drivers, so this has not been a walkaway. Although Shane Hall, you could pretty well say, dominated the first 92 laps.
Boy, they got a cool customer leading right now, though, Garrett Evans. The only way you beat him is outrun him. You don't outdrive him. He's very, very smooth. Look at Ron Hornaday. Looks like a bulldog. Been feeding on that right rear.
I think so. Garrett Evans out of Ardenvore, Washington. Yakima Insulation, Leonard Evans Used Cars, Ford Thunderbird. Tonight, race day, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Stay tuned, and Pat Patterson will bring you live up to the minute Motorsports News inside Winston Cup Racing. That's a 1-2 combination of all the up-to-date racing news, 7 p.m. and 7:30.
The green flies. Garrett Evans gets down the front straightaway here, goes into turn 1. Boy, these cars are so equal when they take off here. Nobody really runs well except Hornaday. He really puts some heat on it.
Garrett Evans controls the restart, and he controls this field for the moment.
You see Scott Hansen there running along in 4th place. He's 1 lap down, trying to get back in the lead lap. He's one of the fastest cars here, and he's moving up on Hornaday on the inside, trying to get up to the lead and maybe get a caution, be back in the lead lap.
Hansen, number 53, out of Wisconsin. trying to work the bottom, but he just can't get close enough to the leader to get that lap back. And Rick Crawford dropped the spot a second ago to Tim Sauter. Got way up high in the loose stuff at turn 1. And here comes Hansen up to 3rd in line.
Mike, that's got to be aggravating to have that much car and know you lost a lap because of a wreck that you had nothing to do with. But now he's fighting his way back, trying to get back in the lead lap.
Hansen just in front of Hornaday's number 97. And behind them, Tim Sauter. And then Rick Crawford. Glenn?
Well, Mike, I've been watching Shane Hall's car since the restart, and to me it appeared to be just a little bit tight. Maybe the weather cooling off, so I went up and checked with his crew chief, Lee McAllister. He said that's exactly what's going on right now. They're hoping that the bleeders will let the thing down a little bit so they can adjust the air pressure on the car and hopefully loosen it up a little bit. But he said the weather's definitely against him right now. The car has tightened up just a little bit.
Well, what I'm seeing right now, Glenn, is the 85 car of Shane Hall's is really hooking up now. As the tires get slicker, that pushing condition will get better, and he will be the car to beat right now. He's really catching Evan pretty fast.
Now the bleeder Glenn's talking about is a bleed valve pressure, a second pressure valve on the rim of each wheel that when the tire exceeds a certain pressure will allow it to bleed off that excess air pressure.
Well, you see Hall there. He's moving in right behind him, Scott Hampson. He is not running in 3rd place. He's only trying to get back in the lead lap. But Hall is so smooth that he's making the best of a pushing condition. He is pulled right down on Garrett Evans, and he'll take the lead back here pretty quick, I think.
3rd place, side by side. Tim Sauter is on the bottom of Ron Hornaday. And they trade a little paint. Yes.
One thing about Hornaday, no matter where he's running in the field, he's giving it 100%. That car is not handling like he thought it was going to be in the second half.
Well, gives Tim Sauter a call because at lap 109, he has now moved up into 3rd place. We asked Tim Sauter as he comes here to Tucson in January what his plans are for the rest of the 1995 season.
At this point, we're not sure. It's going to depend on some sponsors. We're looking at running the ARTCO schedule back in the Midwest and some specials in the state of Wisconsin, and then maybe some all-pro races. All-pro is where we're thinking about running the most.
Tim Sauter, who's just moved his number 16 up into 3rd place.
Boy, what a racing family that is.
Yes.
His father, Jim Sauter, has won 1 million races, and that's not an exaggeration hardly. That man has won a ton of races. Jay Sauter is one of the best ASA drivers, and Tim Sauter is certainly a very fine race car driver.
Won the All-Pro race at Milwaukee. Jim Sauter's family could have their own IROC race. He does test driving for IROC, and they've got enough drivers in that family to have their own IROC series. Or maybe the SROC, the Sauter Racing Championship.
There you go. Boy, they're all very good on this type of racetrack also. Dick Trickle and Jim Sauter used to be the 2 cars when you went up in that area that you had to worry about. Those guys, one or the other would win most of the races.
So there's Tim Sauter leading Ron Hornaday. That is 3rd place. Garrett Evans the leader. Shane Hall in 2nd. Well, we asked at the top of the show if perhaps the glass slipper could fit Garrett Evans today. We saw him in this position before, up front in the lead, and saw Hornaday steal it away from him. There's Hornaday, and it does not look as if today is going to be his day.
Well, you never know, though. One caution, a good jump on the restart, and you never know in this race.
That's true. Glenn?
Well, Mike, when Ron Hornaday comes by, we'll try to get a shot of it this time. You can see a piece of body panel dragging off the right rear of the car. Not hurting anything. It looks like he got together with somebody, but NASCAR's keeping an eye on that. You heard Ron say that they were really going to tighten the car up. It has gotten even cooler out here, and I got to believe that he made the car a little too tight. It's just not getting through the center of the corner and off it like he was when it was so loose. He's gone from one extreme to the other, it appears.
So Hornaday struggles along in 4th place. If you can call 4th struggling. Toby Porter in 5th. There's your leader, Garrett Evans. We'll be right back to Winter Heat live on TNN after this. The TNN team stays at the Viscount Suites Hotel. The Viscount Suites is the place to stay in Tucson. Call 1-800-527-9666 for reservations and information. Getting a little chilly here in Tucson.
A lot of people wore shorts out here. It was like 75 degrees this morning, and
it
now
was.
now they're regretting those moves that they did as far as the closing.
Well, it's a lot warmer here than a lot of places today.
What in the world is that?
Some of the pit crews up and having a look over their teams from the spotters platform up in turn 2. NASCAR World comes to Daytona February 15th tonight. Heat 6 acres of exhibits. Get any closer and you'll need your own pit crew. So call the 800 number on your screen for information on the 6 acres of displays at NASCAR World, in conjunction with TNN, at Daytona this February. Going to hold the caution for one more lap. Piece of debris in turn 1. To reset the field for you, Garrett Evans is the leader. Running in second, the pole sitter, Shane Hall, number 85. Third is Tim Sauter, number 16. Fourth is 97, Ron Hornaday. In fifth is number 80, that's Toby Porter. Back behind Porter, 6th place is Kenny Shepard in 95, the pole sitter last time here. 6th, number 21, Bill Lawrence, or rather is 7th. In 8th, number 14, Rick Crawford has backpedaled a bit in this second half of the race. Behind Crawford, number 10, Ernie Cope, who took a provisional to get in the field. Then Bob Lyon and Doug McCown. Getting ready for green this time as the O'Reilly Chevrolet Pace truck pulls in. Garrett Evans in the Ford. See if he can hold them off. There's Hall peeking on the outside, but green is out. And this time it's Evans who's quick with the gear.
Look at Hornaday. He's trying to make a move. He never gives up, no matter where he's at in the field. He's always pedaling toward the front.
Well, Tim Sauter's right underneath him. There's Crawford going after Bill Lawrence once again. Boy, Sauter, no, give it up that time as Hornaday goes to the bottom on Scott Hansen, who is one lap down in number 53. They've got to put Hansen in 13th position.
Boy, those two cars were basically right even as far as the way they run around the racetrack. It's hard for either one of them to get any advantage at all.
Hansen's running right with him. It would have been fun to see what he could do from a position on the lead lap.
Yeah, he wouldn't mind this being like Winston Cup where you can start back when you're a lap down even with the car that's leading the race. He has to start in third, though, because that is track position.
Single file restarts. Well, Shane Hall's getting ready to go to work here.
Shane Hall is very impressive. He's keeping that car straight even though he's trying to go to the lead. He's not getting in the throttle enough to get the rear wheel broke loose.
Evans in 64, the blue car. Shane Hall, Blue America number 85.
Mike, when you do that, a lot of times that's a wake-up call to make this guy leading the race. Do something just a little irregular as far as this line. Try to get an advantage, and if you can get them to studying what you're doing, they'll make a mistake sooner or later that you can capitalize on. He shouldn't have woke him up quite so well, though. Garrett Evans pulled away about a 4-car length lead right now.
A little further back. 55, Kevin Harvick trying to come back up through. That's Sean Monroe in 48, battling Doug McCown, 34, and Lance Hooper, 07. These are cars that are, I think McCown is on the lead lap from what we have. Monroe is at least a lap down. Hooper on the bottom. Trying to make it work. Monroe, full-time surfer, part-time racer. Working him high on the outside. That car, number 48, comes out of Ron Hornaday's shops up in Palmdale, California. And the 22, Wayne Dillon, looking for a piece of the action there. In the wall, number 95, Kenny Shepard.
Boy, Shepard did hard backwards there.
That's up between turns 3 and 4. Tough break for Shepard. He had moved all the way up into 6th place. Kenny Shepard, the fluid-eyed number 95. And again, he's a protege of Hornaday. Hopefully he can get back in the race. He was still on the lead lap until the cars came by that time. So it puts us under caution at lap 138. Let's show you what happened as Rick Crawford saw it from our in-car camera. Look way at the top of your screen.
Well, you can see way down low the two cars make a little contact there into the wall.
Joel, let's look
That's
at
just
the,
a short track
whole right
incident
side
there.
line.
Both of them just made a little contact getting in the corner, and of course Shepard got the worst of it.
Car's rolling again, but he has lost at least a lap, maybe two. And he'll head for the pits. Tough break. Nice young fellow. Seems to have a good bit of driving talent. As we said, he sat here on the pole in December. And now goes to the pits. 139 laps complete. Here's how they're running. We'll be back to Tucson live after this. Welcome back to Tucson as Winter Heat continues live on the Nashville Network. Let's take you a little further back in the field and find where your favorite driver's running as Garrett Evans leads this race. Shane Hall, number 85 in second. Ron Hornaday posted in third. Tim Sauter now fourth. And rounding out the top five, Toby Porter. Back in sixth, Bill Lawrence. Seventh, Bob Lyon, number 44. Eighth, number 14, Rick Crawford. And ninth, the last car on the lead lap is Ernie Cope at number 10. 1 lap back in 10th place, 55, Kevin Harvick. 1 lap down now, rejoins the field. 07, Lance Hooper. 34, Doug McCown. Number 40, Frank Moronsky. 74, Dana Stahl in an impressive debut. Number 17, that's Randy Olson. And the 5 of Brian Germoni. Those cars are 1 lap back. As we get set to go back to green. 58 laps to go.
Boy, oh boy. Well, you're going to find out who has the muscle now. And I'd love to see his 53 get back in the lead lap. I'll tell you one thing. He is driving one. Scott Hansen has drove his heart out all day long. But he just can't get back in the lead lap.
Under green, Garrett Evans takes off once again. So Shane Hall is going to take a lap or two to catch him at least. Let's see if he can do anything with Evans. Spinning around on the front straightaway is Frank Moronsky.
It just hadn't been his day.
No, sir.
2-lap penalty for a little rough driving there at midpoint of the race, and now he's spun on the front straightaway. No caution is out, so he's going to lose at least another lap.
Should put him to 3 laps down. Okay, Hall has caught Garrett Evans. Now what?
Catching and passing is one hard thing to do on this racetrack with 2 cars that are this equal. Usually you see one that has an advantage getting in the corner or getting off. Right here, these 2 cars are basically the same.
You missed Scott Hansen in that rundown, buddy. He is in 10th place, 1 lap down, number 53 Hansen, for the lead.
Look at Hall. He's using that racetrack to his advantage.
Well, nobody's used the left side of Garrett Evans today. Let's see.
To be this young, he's got a lot of discipline when it comes to driving that race car and not tearing his tires up.
You see a lot of guys who are fast and loose, but he is smooth, very stable, and very fast.
Well, he comes. Anybody that runs a lot of ASA and All Pro, they're all pretty good race car drivers on any surface.
$50 laps to go this next time by. Garrett Evans from the Northwest leading Shane Hall. Let's look at Randy Elson.
I don't know why that car just makes me laugh when I see it. I really don't know why. I guess it's a beautiful paint job.
It's the California cheese producers. We just call it the cow car, okay? As he battles with number 5, Brian Germoni. Bill Lawrence, black flag loose bodywork. That'll take him out of the top 6 to make repairs. They've been having a race-long battle here, Olson and Germoni. Meanwhile, Rick Crawford battles with Jim Engelbright.
Well, that's getting the most out of the quarter panel there. They got the whole quarter panel and half of the roof there with their sponsorship on the side there. Whoa, a little loose getting off the corner. Now that is a bad condition on short track.
And look at how Rick Crawford had to check up to keep from getting in the back of him. That 20 car, we're told, is 1 lap down. Jim Engelbright.
Well, we were wondering what happened to Rick Crawford. I tell you, A nightmare to anybody that runs short tracks is the weather change. When you set a car up, some people hit it right when it does get cool, but a lot of people really go out to lunch when you have a change in temperature like we have today.
You saw from the rear window shot of Crawford's car just how cloudy it's become here in Tucson. Look how that's not overcast. That's heavy cloud cover, and it was sunny in 75 when they qualified.
You see Ernie Cope there, mane and tail car. That's Derek Cope's
cousin.
Yeah. Same sponsorship that Bobby Allison has on his Western Cup car. Boy, I tell you what, you can see that back window moving around down the straightaway there. You talk about something that's getting a lot of downforce on the rear spoiler there. Oh, Crawford, hang on.
Yes. Trying to overcome a bit of a loose condition. Well, we asked Rick Crawford as he comes here to start his. Oh, big crash. It's coming off the wall, and into Crawford was Jim Englebright, and it just cleaned the whole right side off Rick Crawford's car. Also involved is 74 Dana Stahl, but fortunately Crawford climbs out okay. Look where it drove the left front wheel of the number 20 Englebright's car.
There's a bit of fire there under the right front corner of the 20 car. Jim Englebright, I don't know what it is, just hot metal, though. It's not flaming up.
Look at buddy, the right side is gone from Rick Crawford's car.
Boy, both of those guys are really fortunate. It sounded like a half a stick of dynamite went off.
Watch this.
Well, Crawford's coming through there. He's turning down. The 20 car comes right off the wall. The 20 car had gotten into the wall and come back across the racetrack and right into Crawford. See, Crawford, he sees the problem here. He's trying to turn down. Oh, wow.
Couldn't get away. Ernie Cope was right underneath him.
You can see where he hit the wall there and come straight across the racetrack. A very violent sound.
Grinding crash. And there is Rick Crawford. He is okay, but see how displeased he is over the fate of his race car. Long way to come from Alabama. Bring that car home in this many pieces. Let's show you what Rick saw. Watch and listen. And it's over that soon.
The good part is these cars are built so strong that it give away a little bit on the right side, but the car basically around the driver stayed intact.
Englebright also out of his car and okay, but two badly damaged race cars will go on the rollback back to the pit area. A not so happy new year for these two drivers, but we'll be right back to finish off winter heats. Well, the points counting season will get off in fine fashion right here on TNN, and you'll see it live, of course. The Skull Bandit Racing Copper World Classic, these Featherlite Southwest Tour cars, and the debut, the point-scoring debut of the NASCAR Super Truck Series by Craftsman. It all happens Sunday, February 5th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, live from Phoenix International Raceway. Join us for the Copper World Classic on TNN. Well, Rick Crawford has now had a chance to really look over the damage, and he is not pleased, but Glenn, is, with Jim Englebright, can tell us what happened to trigger that one.
Well, thanks, Mike. Jimmy Stannard, he walked on his own power. Obviously, he is okay, but brand new car. Jimmy, what happened out there?
I lost my power steering pump on about lap 20, and we've just been kind of muscling it, and fatigue finally got me. I just lost it, got out from underneath me coming into 3, and I just overcorrected, and you know, I hated to see that, you know, because I took another guy out with me. I just, you know, it's just one of those deals, but I'm all right, everybody. I'll be back tonight.
Okay, he's a little shaken by the whole thing, but I tell you, it takes a big man to admit a mistake like that. He'll be back. He was running awfully well. We'll look for him next time we do Southwest Tour.
Devastating crash for Englebright, and especially for the number 14 of Rick Crawford. We'll have an update from scoring and show you where everybody's running here at lap 164 when we come back to Tucson Raceway Park. Parker, South Dakota. Hi, everybody. We'll be right back with you live on the Nashville Network. 37. Welcome back to Winter Heat. Well, Doug Parr of Boykin Communications gets the attaboy for this week. He's the fellow that installs our in-car cameras, and as you can see, Englebright cleaned everything off the right side of Rick Crawford's car except the in-car camera. Nice work, Doug. That's the only bar left on the right-hand side. And
I'd say the only active bar anyway. The rest of the right side is torn away, as you can well see.
Glenn is with Rick Crawford.
Yeah, and after that impact, I'm just glad he's able to stand alongside me here, Rick. Tell us what happened from your viewpoint.
One of the cars just spun in front of us, hit the wall pretty hard, come back across the racetrack. We was just a victim. I hate it for Tom Mitchell at Circle Bar out in Ozona, Texas. He gave us the opportunity to come out here, and you know, we ran good all day. We made an adjustment there at the middle of the race, and tried to apply some front brake to the car and get the looseness going in the corner out, and just one of them things. We was just a victim today, and we'll be back. We'll see you in Phoenix.
Well, he'll be in Phoenix, and although his car was a little off in the second half, I don't think he wanted to see it end this way.
Definitely not. Good thing Rick is okay. We're back under green. And let's add Lance Hooper, Doug McCown, and Randy Olson to the cars that are on the lead lap. 10 cars on the lead lap in this update from scoring. Bob Lyon, number 44, has moved up into 5th, replacing 16, Tim Sauter, who is now the 6th place car. Then Ernie Cope, Lance Hooper, Doug McCown, and Randy Olson. So Garrett Evans, once again, buddy, quick on that restart.
29 laps to go. Now every move you make now counts. You can believe it. In the early part of the race, it didn't matter so much. But if you make a mistake now, you could go from first to last in a hurry.
Shane Hall, number 85, running right with him.
Well, Shane Hall's car looks like it looked the first part of the race. Garrett Evans has just turned it up just a little bit. Scott Hampson's trying to get back in the lead lap, the third car in that picture there. But right behind them is Ron Hornaday, and I don't think he's hooked up the way he really wants to be.
No, I would agree with you. Front three are Ford, Chevrolet, and Oldsmobile. In fact, Hornaday's third place may be in jeopardy. Toby Porter moving in, number 80.
That's just what I was fixing to say. Toby Porter looks like he is really moving in on Hornaday. Glenn?
Well, buddy, during that caution break, I took the opportunity to talk to John Vickery, who is the crew chief on Garrett Evans' car. Standing over here off of turn 2, you can just see the bite, tremendous bite, that car is getting off the corners over here. It's almost like it's on the string. And I asked him what they did to it. He said they didn't do anything. You saw him adjusting the toe in when I was talking to Garrett during the halftime break. He said that's all they did. He said that Garrett was being extremely careful not to get the car loose. But that right now, things were absolutely perfect. I have to agree with him. The 85 car we saw dominate cannot do anything with Garrett Evans right now.
Garrett Evans feels that this series owes him a win. Well, it doesn't owe him one, but he felt he should have had one and didn't.
Well, Shane Hall sitting there running in second. He's really not losing any degree of distance in between he and Garrett Evans. He's still in the fight for the win, I guarantee you.
Those are your front two, hooked up nose to tail. Then Scott Hansen, who's a lap down. Look at the battle for third here. Ron Hornaday trying to hold off number 80, Toby Porter, out of the Carolinas, and number 44, Bob Lyon, third, fourth, and fifth. Porter's right there.
Porter's able to get a little bit better bite lower than Hornaday. Hornaday's having to run the rim of the racetrack, and the 80 car is able to turn down just a little bit. I don't know whether he's got enough to get by Hornaday though.
Toby Porter making his first appearance here at Tucson and on the Southwest Tour. Grease Lightning Olds. Team car to Dirk Stevens, who had ignition problems, and then in the B main got into and against another car and cut down a tire, didn't make the show.
You can see right here that Porter's able to get under, but he cannot get off the corner quite as quick as Hornaday does, running that higher line.
Well, he's kind of running now right around Hornaday's tire tracks. And Bob Lyon in 44 has drifted back a bit, unable to gain advantage on these two. 17 laps to go. Hornaday up high. Porter had a shot. Well, not that time.
See Hornaday trying that wide line. He's able to keep his tires up under him because he's not pinching the car down. He cannot run low like this very long without heating the tires up and really losing some distance on everybody.
Leaders in heavy traffic. That's Garrett Evans, 64, underneath Wayne Dillon. Makes the pass. Shane Hall unable to gain advantage here as the leaders work through a heavy pack of traffic. The last car in that line is Moronsky there, the red number 40. Hornaday hanging on to third place. And we asked him if this new deal with Dale Earnhardt to drive Earnhardt's Super Truck puts any added pressure on his shoulders to do well here.
Exactly. Right today, it's going to be tough. I mean, we got a lot of good cars today, and yes, I'm sure he's going to. Dale's probably sitting at home watching this thing on TV today, so I'm going to push it as hard as we could. We got a pretty good car. Goodyear came with a good tire today, so we're going to push it hard, and I can feel the extra pressure.
And the real season hasn't even started yet.
Well, one thing about Ron Hornaday, he may have a bad day today, and his bad days are in the top 5. So I'm sure that Dale Earnhardt's had days when he wasn't quite hooked up like he wanted to be, but he knows that this boy is giving it everything he's got. Hornaday never gives up.
I was up at his shop the other day up in Palmdale, California, as we were dodging the monsoon. Oop, back at the leader, Shane Hall. Shane's got a shot at Evans. Has to keep it glued down there.
There's a lap car just in front. If they keep running side by side like that, may come into play.
Well, it looks like, looks like Shane Hall was just a little bit loose coming off the corner, and that's where Evans had the measure of it. And getting the move over flag is Randy Olson.
Well, one thing about Garrett Evans, he lost one race here to Ron Hornaday by making a bad move right near the end. Today, it looks like he's got it going his way.
Hall trying to get just that little bit closer, but if there's traffic, he might be able to use a lap car as a pick. Olson going one lap down, holds on to 10th place. So he was up at Hornaday's shop, and everybody was just like walking on clouds up there. He and his dad and the fellas that work for Ron to prepare his and Sean Monroe's cars and are building other cars for the Southwest Tour. Really excited about this new move.
Man, we're down to 6 laps to go. Hall made one move just a second ago. Now he's cooled his tires. He's making a last-minute run. This is the only chance he got. If he can close in on Garrett Evans now, he's going to have to make one last-ditch effort to try to win this race.
He's got to get there first, buddy, and got to keep that car under him to get close enough to try. 5 laps to go. Next Sunday on TNN, the Winston West Series rounds out our winter heat schedule. So join us next Sunday.
Boy, Shane Hall is giving everything he has. He's closed in now to less than 2 car lengths.
He's getting there. I don't know if 4 laps is going to be enough, though, buddy.
Well, every time he closes in, he crosses her up a little bit. It's down to the real trump card now. Who has the better car?
Lap cars will likely not be a factor way down at the bottom of the racetrack. Boy, Hall is there, but he's got only 2.5 laps to work with.
Garrett Evans moves a little bit wide there in the center part of the corner. Hall closes it up to 1 car length.
Now no car lengths, but only a lap and a half to go.
We have a spin on the back straightaway.
Sean Monroe colliding with the 21 car. Will we get a caution?
No. White flag. 1 to go.
And that will do it for Garrett Evans. So Shane Hall is going to get to just about Evans' rear bumper if he blows it into turn 3 hard, and they will face the checker this time. Bill Lawrence's car sits in the infield after that collision, and Garrett Evans finds that today the glass slipper fits as he wins the Southwest Tour 200. Shane Hall, the surprise pole sitter, has a great run to finish in 2nd spot. We'll be back live to Tucson after this.
By Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
By 0.2 of a second, Garrett Evans holds off Shane Hall to win it here in Tucson. Let's go to victory lane. Here's Glenn.
Well, folks, if you were with us at the halftime break, you heard this man, Garrett Evans, say he thought he had something for Shane Hall in the second half of this race, and you certainly did. That race car was awesome.
I couldn't really let my crew down. They've been going over 3,000 miles through snow and ice down here the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they gave me a car that was capable of winning. I just let them down a couple of times, but today I didn't want to do that, and we brought her home first.
Well, you felt like, I know, that the racetrack owed you one. You ran so well in the first 2 races you ran here. It has to be some kind of vindication. You got to really feel good about the success you had here at Tucson and going into the next season. You guys are really on a roll.
They got a real good race team. I'd like to thank Goodyear Tires that gave me a good tire, Penske Shocks, Pace Set of Race Cars. I'd like to thank Dennis Williams from Yakima Speedway for all his help, and Doug Betterall from Betterall Transport.
Congratulations again to Garrett Evans. He's thanking everybody else. His crew is standing behind me. They want to thank him. He also did an outstanding job. And congratulations also to Shane Hall. Great job in second place.
Great run for Garrett Evans. He's the winner. Shane Hall finishes up in second. Ron Hornaday third. Toby Porter and Bob Lyon in fifth. Ernie Cope, Lance Hooper, Doug McCown, Randy Olson, and Tim Sauter listed as the top 10. Scott Hansen would be right behind them. Great show, and finally, buddy, Garrett Evans gets one.
Well, I'm glad to see it. He deserved it, and he's a winner, man. I can't wait to see him move up.
Well, next week, Winston West will cap it off for us. Here live at 5 p.m. next Sunday will be our final winter heat show. I'm not looking forward to going back to cold and snowy New England, I'll tell you.
I'll tell you one thing. I hate to see this series wind up because this is a great series, and you would never see better short track racing than right here in Tucson.
It's been fun, so join us for round 8 next Sunday live on TNN. For Buddy Baker and Glenn Jarrett, I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Garrett Evans, today's winner of Winter Heat.